Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Chantel and you're watching Diamond Mind, where I want your divine mind to shine. Today's video, we're going to be talking about the movie Soul, the latest Disney movie that came out on Christmas Day. In today's video, I'm going to be going back and forth and comparing a near-death experience with the movie Soul. People would agree with me that a lot of Soul would be inspired by many near-death experience stories that have been put out into the internet and told around the world. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to be kind of going back and forth between the two to show how each of them relate. So if you haven't seen the movie Soul, I'm going to be saying a few spoilers throughout the video. So here goes. A guy in a near-death experience. He's going down a ski lift and he has this feeling, but he stays on the ski lift anyway. And so he's going to this mountain. And I think something happens with the ski lift, but he ends up crashing to the mountain, severely hurting his ribs and his legs. And Joe, except we don't really see his physical experience, but we know that they're both thrown out of their bodies going toward a light. So in the NDE, he goes, "I never felt this good before. No fear, no pain, and no underlying negative emotion." And I threw that in there because this compares to the way Soul 22 tells Joe when they're in the room of things where the little baby souls find their purpose. Joe eats a pizza and she's like, yeah, that's an earthly experience. You don't taste or touch or feel anything. And so I would like to throw in there that too, with negative emotions, it's all a bodily experience. The fear, even the physical pain, anything you experience with your five senses is an earthly and a body experience. So the NDE, he said, he felt something pulling him not far outside the earth. But I could see all of it and said my goodbyes, all of it being a wonderful experience, both the good and the bad. So this is comparable to where Joe and Soul 22 are kind of looking down from that big hole in the middle of one of their dimensions where the higher beings are like guiding the baby souls. And so you can just see this place where they can kind of all look down. But in the NDE, he kind of experiences it as like being in the middle of the space and kind of looking down at Earth. He goes, "I noticed waves of colors and lightning bands of energy that were being dispersed." So this reminds me in the part where when Joe and Soul 22 kind of go off on their own, they meet these other people in this different part of a different dimension, and you see just these people, their energy floating in the air, like them in cross-legged, just in meditation mode, because they're so in flow with whatever they're doing, and that they're connecting to their highest self in that moment. So a piece of them, I believe, is in the higher realm. And so this is how I believe that we're kind of everywhere and nowhere at the same time. I think that we have this bigger energy that is experiencing us, but then outside of that, when we're in flow and we're in this flow state of meditation or doing our true passion, our hobbies that make us so happy, they show us that you can really just have a greater being behind you and in different dimensions. And he goes, I found I could move on my own by merely wanting to. I could move as fast as I could think. And so, just as 22 is trying to escape from, I believe, the whole them being partnered up to go figure out the purpose, she kind of slips away and takes Joe with her. And this is just a little bit before they went through all the other places. And you can see how she just opens up this portal. And so this kind of shows me that just by thinking in the universe, I believe that we kind of can move throughout different dimensions just by the thought of moving there. And so touches on this when he's moving and he's going through the space of the universe, and he goes, I felt myself being pulled, but then he took it in his own hands and kept thinking the word faster, 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 and his astral body through space was moving and taking that command every time he thought faster and faster in the NDE experience. So, as he's moving through space, he gets to this point and he meets his eternal love, his wife, his twin flame, his soulmate, whatever you want to call it. His wife said, please accept and use this loving energy that is being shared with you and continue to grow with this plane of existence, for you need it as all things do, and it needs you in all things. Also recognize that everything is important no matter what it is. We all hold the same status to one another, no matter who or what you are. We respect all because if you exist, you have a space to contain and are as important as anything else in the universe. You are a piece of it. We are all entities of the God factor. And he goes, I was feeling much more at one with all things now. So this reminds me of the part in the movie where the Jerrys, they're kind of just there to make sure everything goes in flow and goes correctly. But Joe finally asks him, he's like, who are you? And one Jerry goes, I am the coming together of all quantized fields in the universe in a form that your feeble mind can understand. So this proves to me that just like in the NDE experience when his eternal wife was telling him, to be essentially grateful for this energy that's all around us, I think that the experience of his wife and the experience of the energy of the universe and its response to us and how we're a piece of it, it really is a good example of how Jerry said that, because he believes he is a piece of the whole universe, because he said in a universe in a form, in the universe in a form, so the form being a piece of the universe. He was pulled to a planet where his his children of a past life were, and he was pulled to a planet where his children of a past life were. He said, "What a wonderful way to show me that reincarnation really does happen, by meeting a family of a past lifetime." So this reminds me how Joe, in the movie, you see he's not ready to die. He wants to reincarnate back to Earth so he can fulfill his attachment to his path and what his body wanted, his purpose wanted to be essentially completed, to be manifested. And so as Joe and Soul 22 get back to his body, she goes into Joe's body, and her experience was through Joe's eyes. So when we incarnate on Earth, based on our thing, based on what our path will turn out to be, what our end game is, that's the avatar that we're pressed through before we reach Earth. So that symbols what Soul 22 had to get in order to move on onto Earth and to have her earthly experience, those little badges. In a way, he needs to fulfill his badge, his purpose, his archetype. That's what's pulling him back to Earth to incarnate. And what's really interesting is that I recently learned in the studies of incarnation, it might be true that in the beginning of our lifetime, we might start off as something small on Earth and work our way up to be humans, because incarnation is a flow of expanding our energy. And so I think it's good to be very aware and mindful, to be respectful of all things, whether animate or not. And also, if you're a lucid dreamer, they say that you can become one with the objects in your lucid dream. So that's a little crazy tidbit that I've personally not experienced, but I have lucid dreamed, and that would be really trippy. And so his last words were, "I felt something else leave as I entered a filter between my body and spiritual connection, so that these intense energies didn't turn my body into ashes." And so it really resonated with how the Soul movie, the cat got being sucked out, and 22 end up in Joe's body because Joe's not in there. And so maybe there is a kind of energy, a universe energy flowing through us when we're not present inside these vessels. So I hope you really enjoyed that. Definitely going to link down the NDE video below. It's really a beautiful story, and it's told beautifully, and so it definitely changed my life listening to that, and then watching Soul right after. I would definitely recommend. It was really crazy to see all those different parts and how it all kind of connects. And we don't know what's really beyond, but if we can put together bits and pieces of truths, then maybe we're onto something, and we're figuring out what's been and what has always been around us. It's important that we all wake up to who we are, so we can feel what Soul 22 felt when she was in his body and experiencing the beauty of the world around us. I think we need to get back to that appreciation and gratitude of the whole part of our life, the before, the during, and the after. Thank you so much for watching. I love you so much. And I believe the cuts in your diamond mind are the cells of your brain shaping your reality.